Okay, welcome back to Fantasy 1.0. Today we're going to talk about waiver wire management.
And yield for the apocalypse, yeah. It's the apocalypse, yeah.
Okay, so two types of waiver wires, or two types of waivers, I should say. There's the rolling waiver wire. I think it's called that. That's when there's 12 teams. There's an order of ranking, and that's sort of your, let's say your pick or your priority for a player. So if you're in the position of number one, and there's a player on waivers, and you put a claim in for him, and everybody else in your league does, you're going to get him. So your one is going to trump everybody else's number. Once you get that player, or you're awarded that player, then you go all the way back down to 12. So it's a rolling waiver wire. So this is where it sort of comes into, if you kind of want a player and you've got a really nice, you're sitting at one or two in your rolling waiver wire position, and you kind of want this player, or you think he's going to kind of be sought by other teams in your league, maybe it's best to just sort of hold off and see if nobody else makes a claim on him, and then pick him up when he's not on waivers anymore, when he's just a straight free agent, because then you don't have to spend any, let's call it waiver capital on them. So obviously pros and cons to that. The con is you may or may not get the player. But the pro is you save that waiver priority for when a real kick-ass player comes out, or gets called up from the minors, or somebody gets dropped for whatever reason. An antsy manager drops somebody, and you're like, oh wait, I could use him, and you can go ahead and pick him up. So, a big takeaway from that is if you don't really need the guy, don't spend the waiver capital on him, or the waiver priority on him. Just hold off for the ones that you do want, the big fish that you do want. Second waiver system is FAB. That's free agent acquisition budget. So that means at the start of the season, each team gets a certain amount of dollars, usually $100 or $1,000, something like that everybody, all the managers have to spend or to bid on free agents. It's like a silent bid. So that means if a player is on waivers, let's say a really popular player, or big time player is on waivers, like say for whatever reason, nobody picked up Ronald Acuna, which will never happen, but if that happened and he gets called up, everybody has the opportunity to submit a bid. So you can just bid $0 on him, and if nobody else puts a bid in on him on waivers, you're going to get him. It's not going to happen with a guy like Ronald Acuna. You need to put some capital behind that. So that's where you put, say, $500 of your $1,000 you have budgeted for waivers toward that player. A couple hints on my end. So if, let's say you've got a $1,000 FAB budget, and you want to put $100 on a player, little tip or hint from me, put $101 on there. That's just in case another guy uses that sort of round number, throws it on there. You just beat him by $1. And then you can, obviously pick up that player. Tip number two is spend that money as early as you can. So picture it like this. If you spend that money on a player in the first week of the season and you get him, then you get that player and the benefits that come with that player for the entire season. Whereas if you wait till near the end of the season to pick up this rookie call-up with 30 games left, you're going to spend the same amount of draft capital, let's say maybe on this player, or that you did on that player in the earlier season, but you're only going to get the benefit or the value of him for 30 games. So, excuse me, make sure you spend that money early and make sure you spend all of it. Tip number three is make sure that you have some money around for, it's called the Real 2 call-up. There'll be a link below for an article that sort of more or less covers it. Have some money for around then. It's usually around April, May. That's when some rookies get called up. It has to do with years of service and so on, and it gives them another sort of, the management, another year of having control over them. Right there, you'll see an influx of rookies being called up. Have some money then, be ready to spend it. Also have some money around the trade deadline, because that's where you're going to see closers getting traded, becoming middle relievers, and then on the team that they were traded from, a middle reliever is going to get boosted up to being a closer, and everybody's going to want him. Have some money for that too. Anyways, that's my take on waivers, both types, and some tips and tricks. Good luck this season. All right, so remember to subscribe to our channel. Comments, suggestions, leave them below. Also below is our link to Twitter and our website. So use them.